Welcome back to Different Life, Peter.
What's up, buddy?
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
So, somebody said something to me earlier today, and I wonder if other people think this is true.
Mm.
She said, "You're being too nice to Peter on the podcast."
I love that observation.
Is that like so clearly she listened to the old podcast.
So people,
apparently,
well,
or maybe she knows me in person.
She knows you in person. So
Yeah.
people who listen to this who don't watch us in the clinic,
Yeah,
in the clinic, you hate me.
that's not true.
Yeah,
How dare you?
You're a bit of a dick.
I'm appalled.
And then on
That's
this,
true. I think I'm pretty nice all the time.
this is the 2 hours of a week that you actually give me your attention, where you're not actively making fun of me all the time.
So here's so then therein lies the dilemma.
Mm.
Do I just start being on the podcast? Do I just start being more of an a-hole, or
Well, your version of being funny,
or in the clinic
is like
should
a-hole-ish.
I start being nicer? You know what I mean?
No, so this needs to
Also,
stay.
you just slurp into the
Yeah, this
you're
needs to
eating
stay.
apples in one
Yes,
episode.
this
now
needs
we're
to stay
slurping
how it
in this.
is, and then no, you don't change anything. That's great.
Unbelievable.
You just have different versions of yourself.
She made me I was like, what are you talking about?
I have one
She goes,
version.
you're like a whole different person on the podcast than you are like towards Peter than you are like in real life.
Do you know why? Like, what do you think? How do you think you're different?
I don't think I'm different at
You're
all.
definitely different.
I disagree.
Because you're analytical, thoughtful, conversational.
I do that all the time in the clinic
Yeah,
too,
but you don't visually.
which is ridiculous.
You- How other people see it.
I think that everybody else is mean to you in our clinic, and that I actually stand up for you quite a bit.
Okay, you are the culture setter of those who are mean to me. Just so you're aware.
I taught them how to do it,
Yeah,
and now I yell at them when they do it.
yeah, I'm aware. And then you're like, wait a minute, that was a little too far.
Yeah,
Don't be-
I keep an eye on it
Mhm.
because it can't get out of hand.
You can't.
You know.
Then what are we doing?
Plus, that's like my thing.
Stealing your
They
shit.
can't be stealing my stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, so on we'll work. We'll see. We'll see if I change anything or not. But
I would appreciate.
I doubt it.
I would appreciate if you did not.
All right,
Just be yourself.
no problem. On one of our recent episodes, we talked about peptides,
Mm-hmm.
whether or not it was a placebo or
Yeah, and what we were doing with it. Yeah,
what we're doing with
the
it.
saga continues. I don't. We'll see.
Yeah, so that got me thinking around because that's a little bit trendy right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's,
Very trendy.
That's why we brought it up. A lot of people are talking about it, so we thought, okay, let's talk about it and see what we can get from it. And then I was like, well, there's other things that I think are also trendy, or at least that I see a lot when I am on social media or just in conversation, and people have questions about it. They talk about it. I know you're interested in some of these things. And I was like, oh, that might be an interesting way to expand that conversation, is to say, okay, well, what else is currently trendy in the media right now?
A lot.
And is there any legitimacy to any of those things, right? Is this things that people should try to do if they can, if they have access to it, or if they're have the financial means for it?
Are you wasting your time or not?
Yeah, or are you simply just wasting your time, or are you just better off, like, in the end, like, exercise, eat well, sleep?
I mean, yes, yes.
Hydrate. So my question. So I guess what I'd like to do is go through these, and you know more about them than I do. I have some input on all of them, but you do some of them you don't do. I don't think, or maybe you do. And let's see what we can get out of it.
So maybe what are some other tools in the toolkit that people can get some benefit out of?
Yeah. If they have, if they can access it, right? Or I mean, some of these things anybody can access. It doesn't cost anything, So the first one obviously does. It would involve either owning one of these things or going to a place that does it. But but cold plunges, right? So I see cold plunges everywhere in TV commercials now, just like commercial. They're not actually advertising cold plunges. They're just in a cold plunge.
It's a part of commercials.
Yeah, it's part of commercials.
It's part of like being a healthy, active adult according to commercials.
Correct.
In media.
Yes. So, and I know that you've done this, your own version of this in the past.
Yeah.
We've talked about it a little bit in the past as well. So is there any validity to this? Is this just something that because I'll be honest, when I look at people doing a cold plunge, I'm like, that just seems stupid.
Yeah, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Why are you torturing yourself? There has to be a better way to get that desired outcome. So what is the desired outcome? What are people trying to achieve by doing a cold plunge? Is there a better way to do that? Or is this the only way to do that? And, so what is behind it?
It's one of those things that is in the health and wellness sphere, right?
Yeah.
So it's on commercials, and then people look at it and they see these buff women and men
Yeah.
doing the thing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh,
I gotta do that,
I
yeah.
should do that
I should
shit
do
too.
that, yeah.
Hmm.
But I think a lot of people probably have no idea why they're even doing it.
No.
They're just doing it.
Yeah, and like let's steelman it. Like it can be fun with friends. It can improve your overall like resilience, ability to do something hard. Because
Mm.
to be totally honest, getting in like 40-degree water is not fun. It's pretty brutal.
No, it
It
seems dumb.
sucks. It's kind of painful,
Yeah,
right?
right.
It's mentally difficult.
They're
So
all the reasons why I don't
yeah,
wanna do it.
the lazy guy. So maybe a little bit of like mental resilience you get to build. It seems so. There's also this other thing too, where like maybe you build a little bit of like thermal effect of brown fat, or maybe a little bit of extra metabolic effect of brown fat. Which brown fat is something that you can build if you live in a cold climate or if you're exposed to cold on a regular basis.
Right, they, like, studied this with, like, Eskimos or something,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like,
Yeah.
they carry more brown fat, like,
Mm-hmm.
between their shoulder blades or some place
Yeah.
like that,
And it's
and it's a higher metabolic rate,
even more
right?
than muscle and
Yeah,
so on and so forth.
yeah. And shivering or being cold is one of the ways that you can
Mhm.
accumulate more brown fat.
It's a body's adaptive response,
Yeah.
just like more muscle is an
Sure.
adaptive response to exercise,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Um, it's been, maybe there's some like immune function benefit. So there's some data will show there's an immune improvement. Your overall
Mhm.
immune system is improved. Maybe there's a little bit of like, again, the resiliency of all of the things we're probably going to talk about today. It's probably the least bang for your buck. It's like one
Yeah,
of those like, if you have the access to do it, but it certainly should not, I don't think, be a part of the protocol because it's integral to your long-term health.
right,
Does it provide some ancillary benefits? Yes. Is it going to change your life? Probably not.
right. It's kinda one of those things that's like a stress exposure, right? Like, but there's other ways to stress,
There's
stress your
many other
body,
ways in
right?
life for the acute stress you're talking about,
Yeah, I
right?
like
Not
that idea.
chronic versus acute stress.
Yeah, yeah,
Chronic stress we hate.
right.
This acute, like small, like dose exposure to stress
Yeah,
can cause the body to respond in a positive way
right.
and
But
improve.
we can
So
achieve that without getting into cold water.
yeah,
Some of the stuff, maybe not the
yeah,
brown
sure.
fat thing, but
Hmm.
some of the idea of exposing yourself to
Yes.
stress can be done in different ways.
Yep. And then
Yeah.
so I'd say that's the thing in the health and wellness realm. It's also used athletically.
Mm.
It's used like in strength and conditioning rooms. It's used with like college teams.
Yeah.
It's used with a lot of kids because it's promoted to recover, right? So you have
Right.
this health and wellness like arc. You have this recovery arc, and the students and the people who use it oftentimes use it highly
Yeah, I
incorrectly.
was gonna say, I think they use it wrong almost all of the
It's
time.
really bad.
And my understand
It's
my
actually like has a negative component to like athletes when it's done wrong.
right, and I think I'll let you explain maybe why it's done wrong. My interpretation of this is like they do something really hard, whether it's a workout or competition, right? Specifically the workout, and then they get in the cold bath after. Is that the right way to do that, or
So yes, or
yes?
yes and no.
Yeah,
So there's nuance. So
yeah,
so what does cold plunge do to your muscles? Well, it overall, like systemically, whole body wide, it will take away the inflammatory response. It will reduce the inflammatory response, especially if you stay in there long enough.
yeah,
What are you trying to do with training? Like, what is training? Like training, whether it be like, so baseball, for instance, like you're training your muscles to do a thing, right?
right,
You're training this adaptive response. Your body will improve over time because you've done some damage to the tissue. Strength and conditioning, same thing.
right.
You literally want the body to have a low lying inflammatory response to the localized tissue that was trained.
Mhm.
And if you choose right away, like within like the next like 4 hours to go into a cold plunge, like for instance, like right after training, which is pretty typical,
Yeah,
you blunt that effect. You just simply like reduce the overall effect of training in the first place.
yeah.
So I don't want to say it negates it, but it severely diminishes it, right?
It was similar to taking Advil or something right after
Yeah.
a hard workout.
You don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that because, and I think this is a hard concept for people to understand because what they've been taught, through again media, social media, inflammation equals bad.
Yeah.
Inflammation equals bad.
Yeah, you just hear the word and you know it's bad.
Yeah, like
and so if I can
inflammation.
reduce inflammation, that's good.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And so in these cases where you're purposely creating some low level of inflammation, your body, that's a normal part
You
of
want it to happen.
you want that to happen.
Yes.
That's normal. It's healthy. It's how your body will
That's
gain
how you get
strength.
stronger.
Right.
More flexible, whatever
It's
it
how your
is.
bones get stronger. It's how your
Mhm.
ligaments get stronger. It's all like the whole process of inflammation is mostly a good thing. It's only when inflammation spirals out of control
And it lasts a long time.
and it lasts
that
a
it
long
gets bad.
time that it becomes bad, or if it's systemic, like at an organic or organ level or
Mhm.
some other place. Right. So, um, so I think like, to your point is that you don't want to do this like immediately after, although I think after like maybe I think the way I would differentiate, or the way I've talked to my kids about it, maybe I'm telling them the wrong thing, is like, so after a hard workout where, you're in the gym, you're lifting heavy weights, you're doing whatever, you're trying to get stronger, you definitely don't want to do it, within that certain window, right?
Yeah.
But after a competition, like say you just played a football game
Yeah.
and you really took a beating,
Fantastic.
that's probably
Mhm.
a time to do it, because that kind of inflammation that comes from playing the actual competition
Mhm.
is inflammation that you might want
You
to
wanna dampen
to,
that
to dampen
because it
that.
could be, like, injury that's accumulating too quickly, and
Yeah.
you wanna dampen some of that.
Yeah.
So, look, I'd also say, that there is more kind of nuance on the maybe you do it right after training. So, for instance, like, let's say your son had a really hard training day, right?
Mhm.
Like on the ice,
Yeah.
really hard. Body was beat up, right?
Yeah.
And then he has to perform at a very high level the next day. He has like a game that's important or something like that. Well, it is better that he feels his possible, like that he
Mm.
feels as best as possible prior to and leading up to that game,
Yeah, versus like
getting the
yeah,
training effect. Like,
yeah,
you'd rather that one instance that
sure.
he feels better so he can perform,
Yeah.
as opposed to getting the training effect. So that
Yeah,
that's the only difference that I would say when you would use it like that.
sure. So as an anti-inflammatory, probably like a good thing,
Hmm.
like in terms of cold plunges
Yeah,
themselves.
it can help. It help. That's why it helps with recovery,
Right.
because you feel better quicker
Right.
because you stopped a low-lying inflammatory response,
Right.
but you also stopped the adaptive response. So it's like,
Sure.
which one are you looking for?
But as a fad, from a pure health perspective,
Yeah, maybe
as a health trend,
from like a D to an A, it's a
yeah,
C.
it's like, oh, okay.
It's fine.
If you could do it,
Fine.
you're not hurting yourself per
Don't
se,
don't
but like,
change your life to
don't
do
you,
cold
yeah.
plunges.
Okay. All right. Moving on.
Yeah.
This one I love, because I kind of don't even know what it means.
Okay. I don't know either. I don't know what you're gonna say.
And I'm a healthcare professional.
Yeah.
And I generally know, but I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head the ranges that this applies to.
Okay.
Zone 2 cardio.
Yeah. Hey, what is that? What do you think it means?
So my understanding, and maybe this is totally wrong,
Yeah.
and if you're listening and you're one of my clients, I promise I'm not a moron. I do
Yeah.
know how to help you get better, but
Just
I'm
know it's
not a
cardio.
zone 2
Yeah.
cardio expert. My understanding is that you're in some version of like your max heart rate for like an extended period of time. So if your max heart rate is say
Like some
200,
percentage. Yeah.
it's some percentage of your max heart rate equals zone 2. Like
Uh,
zone 1 would be a lower
Zone 1 is like this.
heart rate, and then zone 2
Zone 1's like hanging out.
zone 2 is
Yeah.
a little bit faster, and then zone 3 I guess would be faster. Zone 4 maybe you're dead. I don't know.
No. It goes up to zone like 6.
Oh my god, there's
Yeah,
6 zones.
yeah.
So many zones.
Yeah.
That feels like overkill.
Yeah.
Like, let's just narrow this down to like
It has
3
to.
zones.
It generally has to do with heart rate, and which then also has to do with effort, right? Like the
Yeah.
higher your effort, the higher your heart rate.
Yeah.
And then so those zones, there are these like kind of like areas that like you're training within.
So do you know what zone 2 is?
So I don't know the exact numbers. However, I can give you some generalities. So it has to do with more the quality of how it feels, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, so instead of tracking heart rate, right? It's like right now, no problem. Our heart is at rest, basically, right?
Yeah.
Zone 2, you're able to sustain essentially indefinitely as long as you have a fuel supply. As long as your like tissues are like good enough, right? Like they have enough resilience, they're not going to get hurt. You can stay at zone 2, like on a bike, for instance,
Yeah.
and just pedal.
Like a comfortable,
And you're-
because when I do that, you tell me I'm not going fast enough.
Yeah, because you aren't.
Oh, that's ridiculous. but the zone 2 lunatics are telling me that that's perfect. I should just stay there.
Yeah. So the reason why people love zone 2 is because, especially endurance athletes, think of it as like, think of your zone 2 as the base of the pyramid. Like if your cardio is a pyramid,
Yeah.
The base should be zone 2 in the sense that like you should have a huge capacity for endurance. You
Yeah.
should be able.
That's also where my carbohydrates are, my food.
Zone 2 in cars, baby.
This is actually,
We should superimpose.
I actually
these.
love the base of all these pyramids. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have to work that hard, and I get to eat carbs.
So paradoxically, the lower on the pyramid of your cardio that you are, the more fat you're burning.
Yeah.
The higher you are, the more carbs. So it should be inverse.
Ah,
Yes.
interesting.
Your carbs.
So I looked it up just so we could give some actual thing. It said your heart rate sits around 60 to 70% of max heart rate. And I think most people,
That doesn't mean a lot to most people though. Like nobody knows what that means, like what their max heart rate is. So I think the quality is better understood. Like if you're going for a walk with your friend, it's probably not zone 2 if you have some fitness. Zone 2 would be like a very brisk walk or a very mild jog.
yeah, conversational
with your
pace.
friend. You can still talk and you
Mhm.
don't feel breathless, right? But
Yeah.
every once in a while, maybe you got to do one of those.
Right.
But it's not bad.
They said like a simple formula basically is 180 minus your age would get
Mhm.
you into zone 2.
Yeah, no, and those are
roughly.
okay, I
Yeah,
guess,
fine.
sure.
And then because normally max heart rate is 220 minus your
You
age,
know why I don't like
give or
those?
take.
Those
Yeah.
are kind of like BMI, where
Yeah.
they don't really
Just purely
apply to
based on
everybody.
age. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and I like it more like because for instance, right? You can have an extremely unfit person
Hmm.
that could barely do anything, like, but their heart rate
Sure.
skyrockets,
Yeah.
right? Their heart rate's like at 150 going for a walk because they're so unfit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's technically like zone 3 or zone 4. And it's like, okay, like,
Yeah.
what are we talking about? You
Yeah.
know, like, so just, it's whatever the activity is that you are in that allows you to still have a conversation that you can do for a very long period of time. The idea is that you build up a very good base of cardiovascular efficiency over
Mhm.
time.
Is your bike riding that you do on the weekend mostly zone 2?
It's probably zone 2. It probably rides the line of zone 2 or 3
Yeah. I knew you wouldn't be able to admit that you were just sitting in zone 2.
because that's
"Oh,
too,
Gary, you know that I work.
because that's too
You
lazy.
know I can't just sit in zone 2. I
Yep.
have to at least be in zone 3."
Amy, this is what you're used to, right? This is the Gary.
That wasn't the person who said it.
Mm-hmm.
It was your person that said it.
Oh,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I forgot
Yeah.
already.
Um, but yeah, yeah, you couldn't just you wouldn't be comfortable in zone 2 because you wouldn't have felt like
Because I feel like I'm not
you
working
didn't
hard
work
enough.
hard enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I gotta be at least somewhat breathless. My legs have to be like burning a little bit.
Yeah. I want the
Yeah.
opposite of that. I think I'm in zone 2 cardio right now.
Yeah. That's not true.
Just from
Yeah.
talking.
Yes.
Just from talking.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
okay, is there actual so there is validity to like more
Mhm.
fat loss, it's burning more fat, but
No,
how long do you have to do it
yeah,
for?
that's some bullshit. It burns more fat because you can do it for longer. Technically, it's burning fat while you're doing it more than like if you're sprinting.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. In the
Yeah.
end, how many calories are you burning?
Why do you think it became such a thing? Is it because it's just less hard to do?
So people, so I mean,
Easier
yeah,
on your
that's interesting.
joints or like all this stuff, you know what I mean? There's
Nobody,
less
nobody will say it. That's true, but
Yeah.
psychologically, zone 2 is far easier.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, come
That's
on.
what it feels like.
Who does conditioning? Conditioning is hard as shit. It
Yeah.
feels like death. It's
Yeah.
horrible, right?
Yeah, it's awful.
That's why very little people do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big fan, big zone 2 guy. I might get a t-shirt.
So here's my opinion. Okay, regardless of what the data says, my
Yeah.
opinion is that from a fitness perspective, if you want the best bang for your buck and you can like deal with it, like resiliency, you can just get on there and suffer. The really high level, like pushing hard as shit for like 4 minutes or 5 minutes on a bike
Mhm.
or whatever cardio of your choice,
Yeah.
where you are totally breathless, you have to stop by the end. Maybe if you do like 2 of those, you know, you get through probably 15 minutes of that. Uh, boy, you can be done, right?
Right.
Like that is, you are toast by
Yeah.
the end, and you
Yeah.
got a real high stimulus of like cardiovascular stimulus. Then like the equivalent of like 45 minutes on an elliptical.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a much more efficient way
So much more
to
efficient
do like
Yeah.
fitness versus having
See, I am lazy. I like efficiency.
Yeah, sure.
I'll
Yeah.
suffer
This
for
is
efficiency.
it.
Yeah.
Once again, I've proven it over and over again.
It's, you know what it is? It's time laziness. I do not like to take that's for stuff to take a long period of time. So it's like, what is the easiest way to do the thing and get the most
Yes,
benefit?
that's what lazy.
Is that what
That's like
laziness
what
is?
lazy people do. You look for like the most efficient way to do the thing. It's not that you. Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole. We
That's
go
like-
back and listen to that episode. Yeah, you're a lazy person, but that's okay.
Lazy prick.
That's why you're successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I think for some people too, the idea of having to get on a treadmill for an hour or a bike for an hour to be in zone 2 is daunting
Mhm.
in the sense that like I don't have time for
So
that.
I don't have time.
And so then they just don't do it.
Yeah.
Whereas what you're saying is you can accomplish a similar outcome
Just suffer
and maybe
quickly.
even better by
Yeah.
just doing this over the course of maybe
Mhm.
10 minutes
Yeah.
and you push really hard and there's ways to do that. We do a lot of Tabata training with our clients where they work real hard for 45 seconds. They
Yeah.
take 15 seconds off and they do that over the course of about 10 to 12
minutes,
minutes. And that's a really good way to do it. Sometimes we have people like hop on an air bike and do like some kind of
Sprints.
interval at
Mhm.
different sprints. You can do the same thing on a treadmill. You can do some sprint intervals. If you're able to obviously safely do that. So yeah, there's more efficient way to achieve a similar outcome. And
Mhm.
that the idea, I think the reason it became a trend is because people are telling you that you're burning more fat.
It's been like that forever.
It's just like the low fat
Yeah.
craze of the
Mhm.
90s.
Yeah.
It's like this idea
That still lingers.
people view fat as the problem.
Mm.
You know what I mean? If you're on the heavy, like I weigh a little too much right now.
Yeah.
Fat, so to speak, is not my problem. My problem is I'm doing all like the other things, wrong.
Yes,
You know what I mean? So it's
your extra fat is
if,
a symptom of your behavior.
yes, if I got into just
Yeah,
do a whole bunch of zone 2 cardio, I'm
that's
not
not
all of
going
a
to do it.
sudden going to like lose weight.
Yeah,
So,
that's not going to. Now, I'm not
but
disparaging
when
zone
people,
two.
but when people hear that, I
Yeah,
think they think that's the key, that's the
it's
exit,
not.
like that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
off ramp
It's
to
definitely
get rid of
not.
the fat.
Zone two is a tool that a lot of like endurance athletes use, and they absolutely should.
Yeah,
We're talking about this from the perspective of like general health and wellness. Yeah, zone two is not all of the thing for
right,
sure.
for sure. Okay, do something else. So, in summary,
Yeah.
it's okay. You could do it, but there's probably a more efficient way to get it done. Okay, let's move on to wearables.
Okay.
This is everywhere, right? So
Mm.
you have the Oura ring, right? We have the Apple Watch.
Strap.
We
Yeah.
have the Whoop
Hmm.
strap.
Yeah. So you have
I think there's
rings,
yeah,
wristbands, watches. You also have like chest bands
yeah,
where they can track your heart rate and metrics and things like
yeah.
that. Hmm.
You want to know my general take on it?
What do you got?
It's just you just well, one, the only reason all this stuff exists is because these companies want to get into healthcare because there's trillions and trillions of dollars into healthcare.
Okay.
These things are just entry, like they're like a gateway drug. They're getting us to wear it so that they can get all the data. And then once they have the data, they can figure out how to use that data to sell it, to monetize it long term. Like
Yeah.
it will be connected to your doctor's office. And I think there can be some good from this right
Hmm.
down the road. But in the end, that's what they're really trying to do. They're using us as guinea pigs to figure out how they can get like all this healthcare data that they can then repackage and sell to all these like companies, right?
Mm.
That's one. Two, it's just too much freaking information. Now you're relying on this thing to tell you, oh, I recovered this much and I like did this much and I slept this much. And it's like, I think for most people, it just becomes like they're so hyper focused on that
Hmm.
that it actually makes it worse. That
Hmm.
they end up sleeping worse because as they wake up in the middle of the night, they're like, "Oh my god, my like Whoop is not going to show that I recovered fully tomorrow."
Yeah.
And then they
Yeah.
start to stress over it. It's like how much you have to look at your heart rate. Why do you have to look at your HRV every day?
It's
Like,
like
do you really need to know that?
you get anxiety around your own, like
It's
whether you're
just
doing good or bad.
yeah, it feels like it's just too much information for
Mhm.
most people.
Have you ever
Like,
won one?
I think maybe for a high level athlete, like for like someone like LeBron James,
Hmm.
maybe, or whoever, right? Where they really want this data to optimize like training. Maybe, maybe. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. Yeah, I mean, I have an Apple Watch. I barely ever look at that
I was
data.
gonna say, like, does it do it automatically too?
Yeah, I think yeah, it's happening right now. I'm sure like
So you have
Tim Cook is probably looking at my heart rate variability as
like
we speak.
yeah, that fucking
Yeah, this
loser.
guy.
Okay, so you never look at that. You're not interested.
So no, in general, I'm not interested because it's like I don't want to hyper focus
Hmm.
on that type of thing. I think
Mm.
it's for me. I think it would have a counter effect. I think it could create more like I don't know anxiety. If I'm not really an anxious person, but
Mhm.
like I think for a lot of people it can be that it's so much.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
just so much. Do we all need that kind of information?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are your
So
thoughts?
my take is I, I generally agree with you. I don't really have an opinion on the healthcare thing. I think that you're probably right along that end. It's not really a conspiracy. It's just, hey, if there's money to be made, let's get after it, right?
Hmm.
I think there could be some benefit long term in the sense that like if we can eventually wear a device where instead of needing to go to the doctor's office to get your blood pressure, it's just always measuring,
Yeah,
right?
I love that where
Like
they get data all of the time,
yeah,
so that they're not just in the moment taking the one measurement.
yeah,
I
that
think that's
seems
real.
good.
I think that's good and it's really
Totally.
valuable.
Yeah. Like
I'm not saying what they're doing is a bad thing. I'm just
yeah,
saying that's the purpose of this. In the
fine.
long run, that's the
And it's
purpose.
become this other thing that's again in the health and wellness like sphere.
Yeah.
So I couldn't agree more. I have had a personal experience with it. I had an Oura ring for one month exactly,
Yeah.
and I took it off because I found exactly that was happening. Like I'm a I can't help myself. I'm a big optimizer. So as
Yeah.
soon as I have information to tell me a thing, well, I'm going to try and change it.
Yeah.
Well, what I noticed is I had a lot of anxiety and hyper focusing around the metrics and like then tinkering with like, well, how I could like improve them.
Yeah.
Well, boy, my general experience, like in life, was way worse because of the thing.
Yeah.
And I've worked out forever. I have such an intuition about how my body feels, when I should stop, when I should continue to go. And this was kind of like the ring was actually like because it'll tell you the things like, oh, you should have a rest day, or your intensity today should be this, or it should be that,
Yeah.
based upon how you're rested. And I've never done it that way. And it was like telling me that something that was counterintuitive to how, like what my intuition was.
Yeah.
Like I would, well, I feel fine today, but my ring's telling me a thing. And so I back off and I was like, eventually I was like, I cannot do this anymore. This is
Right.
awful. This is way worse experience in life.
Yeah.
Now, then I will also say that if you're the type of person where it can genuinely help you analyze the data and then change your behavior, then I think that that's a really positive thing. Like, so for instance, if you're a bad sleeper, you
Yeah.
didn't know that, you put on a ring, It tells you
Don't
your
you think
bad.
you would know that just by being
I don't
tired
know.
all the
I have
time?
no idea. Some people are not intuitive
Yeah.
about their health, dude. Right? But let's say they put on the ring, they get bad sleep, and they start to notice. Well, here are the reasons why. It gives you insights as to things you can do. Maybe if you genuinely change some of these behavioral patterns, maybe you
Mm,
start to move more, maybe you start to sleep better. Then that's clearly a positive thing. I didn't have that personal experience, and I
right.
think probably less people get a positive effect out of it than get a negative
Right.
effect, if I were to guess.
I was just trying to look up my health data on my phone
Mm.
to see. Apparently, I shut it off a long time ago.
Yeah, you're like, I don't want anything to
So
do
it's
with
not,
you.
yeah, I was hoping it would still just be there, but it was making me have to like go through the whole thing to like log into it. But so that's clearly I had enough at some point, and I was like, "Please go away." Because
Yeah.
I do remember looking at it for a while. I was
Mm.
looking at things like HR, which I don't fully even understand. HRV is probably another one we could put on this, right? Everyone's like hyper focused
Yeah,
on
it's
HRV.
because of the wearables.
Yes,
Because the
and
wearables are now telling you about the
right. If
HRV.
you don't have the perfect HRV, it's like, oh, like my God, like what are we gonna do? Like,
Yes, like relax.
what do I have to do to get my perfect HRV? It's like, oh, calm down.
Just
Just
train real hard, and your HRV will get better.
yeah, just do mostly the right things, and you don't need the wearable to tell you that.
Correct. Yeah.
So they look cool. You want to wear it because it looks nice, but I think from a pure on the other side of this, or another point to this is that we know that they're not extraordinarily reliable either. In terms, I think measuring your heart rate, they can be reliable, but doing some of the things like it's measuring like your calories that you
Mhm.
burn on an
That's not very
exercise or
accurate.
some of these other things, they're not like super great for
I
that.
mean,
So
it's estimating most of this.
yeah. It's
And
getting better at things like blood pressure, and I think some of them can even do some blood sugar stuff now, and it's getting better at that, but
mhm,
it's not perfect. It's
yeah,
not the same as like a blood draw and stuff.
yeah.
So I think people can over rely on the data too as gospel, and it's not quite there yet from a technology perspective.
I think
Getting closer.
wearables for the right person, I think,
Mhm.
can be very valuable, and
Yeah.
I think for most people, probably a net negative experience.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Hormonal optimization, right? So
Mm,
we'll call it testosterone or estrogen. We'll stick to
okay,
those two, right?
two
Because
big
that's like
ones.
the big
Yeah.
ones, right? So for men, I listen to sports radio all day long,
Do you really?
but
When
like
the hell?
in the car,
Oh, you do?
like when I'm not, I guess all day long was, but when
Yeah.
well, lately none of it because it was bothering me. So
Okay.
I'm listening to. I also got Audible,
Nice.
and
And you listen to that in the car?
I'm listening to Mastery right now,
Okay.
which is, by the way, very good. Prior to that, lots of sports radio. All that's ever on for commercials is like, "Do you have low T?"
Just targeting men
I'm like, "Well, I think I do. Do you have these
all day.
symptoms?" "I think I do. I think
Yeah.
I have all of those. Thank you very much." So that's probably why I stopped listening. I was
Yeah.
like, "They're talking to me."
Yeah.
But I know for women too, they're being bombarded on the other side about menopause and estrogen and all the other stuff. And way more stuff about this in general, but is this generally like a good trend? I actually believe this to be probably a good trend, um, because as you've explained to me, I probably believe it because you you've convinced me over the years.
Yeah.
My understanding for this in general is that most doctors historically were just undereducated as to this,
And they still are.
and they still are,
Yeah.
and therefore. Um, Patients, us, were not getting, this wasn't even something people were looking at when we would show up with certain symptoms, right? So
Mhm.
it wasn't even on the table. And if I have pain everywhere, they just default to giving me like pain medicine
Mhm.
rather than being like, oh, well,
What's the underlying cause of your
what's the
problem?
underlying cause? And
Yeah.
so I feel like this is probably a good trend because it was probably an area that's just misunderstood and not researched enough. And now
Mhm.
that it's becoming that, it's becoming more readily available and also less stigmatized.
Mhm.
But what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, look, all of the cells in our body have receptors for our hormones, right? So what does that mean? Well, if you
I don't think
have
I've ever started a sentence that way. Listen, listen, listen to me. All of our, Gary,
yeah,
all of our cells
have receptors,
have
yeah.
receptors. Oh, yes, Peter.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Clearly, obviously, I think about that every day.
Right? And
I do
so
not actually. I mean, I'm aware of that.
yeah,
The last time I've ever thought about that was never.
do you know that okay, here's why. You ready?
Yeah, I love it.
The big reveal?
Yeah.
Because when a hormone attaches to that receptor, it has an effect on the cell.
Mm,
And then the cell expresses its trait and and then that has an effect on the body. And
mm,
so if you have more or less of that hormone in your body, then you're going to have more or less expression of what your body can do. So let's use that as an example. Like we'll say testosterone, for instance, right?
yeah.
Like a man can't be fertile without testosterone. You just can't do it,
Right.
right? So if you have none, then you can't have kids,
Yeah.
right? And then the other is opposite is also true. If you have a normal rate, right, you can be very fertile. There are plenty of reasons why that may not be true, but testosterone has an effect on that.
Yeah.
Okay. The same with hair, right? So if you have more testosterone and you have, male pattern baldness in your genes,
Hmm.
then that will actually make that male pattern baldness accelerate earlier in your life. And if you have
Oh,
less
well,
of it
I must have a ton of testosterone.
when you were younger,
I am full of it.
maybe not now, right? But I guess the point is look, as we get older, for most of us, not all of us, our hormones will start to decline, much like everything else in our bodies, right? And
Yeah.
so, if your hormones start to decline in the health and wellness sphere, we're like, well, why, if it's safe, right? And the
Hmm.
reason why there was a huge stigma in the past is it was associated with certain types of cancers, right? Those studies have largely been shown to not be the case, right?
Yeah.
And so, if you can normalize your hormones to have them at a normal level, not a like very high level, not abuse them,
Yeah.
then the processes that those hormones act on in your body will just stay level for much longer. And then so, look, our bodies run a certain way on purpose. You feel better when your body works better. You feel more like yourself. There's a reason why like women say when they lose their estrogen, they're becoming somebody else.
Yeah.
They're like a different person now because you literally are. Like hormones affect your personality and your body. They have an effect on your mind and your body, right? So
Yeah. I don't think people realize how much hormones
it's
actually
so
affect.
unbelievably it's
Right.
unbelievably
It affects
important.
like your
Your
mood, your affect,
personality,
your
for
personality.
sure, right?
It's not just like muscles
For
or
testosterone,
yeah,
yeah,
or
yeah.
like on the commercials, it's basically all about erections.
Yeah, for
Like
sure,
it's
of
literally
course,
like all
because
of the
that's
time. You
what
know what I
people are
mean?
interested in.
Right for the
More
men.
testosterone
Yeah.
equals, like, better sexual health
Yeah,
according to the
that's all they
commercials,
do.
right? But it's so
And
multifactorial.
that's part of it.
Yeah,
It's
for
just
sure.
not the
Yeah,
only
yeah, yeah,
thing.
it's
Yeah.
not the only thing,
Yeah.
and it has wide-ranging
Pain.
implications.
I think
Yes.
for both men and women,
Mhm.
estrogen and testosterone, like
Yep.
pain, like diffuse like pain throughout your body
Yeah,
can
so
be tied to, in some cases, back to hormonal stuff. Yeah.
so estrogen is like lubrication for the joints. If you have less of it, your joints can feel more brittle and dry,
Hmm.
which is why women who start to go through menopause
Yeah.
can start to feel more wide-ranging like pain in their joints
Yeah.
because their joints just aren't working as well as it used to. Like that's an example, right? You have
Right.
less estrogen, it doesn't work, your joints don't work as well. If you have more, all of a sudden like, oh, I have less pain, I start to feel better,
Yeah.
right? And so wide-ranging implications. In general, the way that I think about medicine is if the benefits outweigh the side effects, it's a personal choice. Do you think that for you that these benefits would have a net positive impact on your life? Well, then we should have the opportunity to make that choice.
I think one thing to consider too, and I think maybe with all the clinics that have popped up, at least for men, I'll speak more to that because I'm a little bit more familiar with that. Uh, I think for some people, they're skipping a step, like, and they're going. So for instance, we've had this conversation before.
Mhm.
First, you have to do all of the things right.
Yeah, the
Like you
lifestyle
need to
choices.
all the things we talk about on
Yeah.
almost every episode. You need to be, moving your body, like
Mhm.
exercising, strength training. You need to be sleeping well. You need to be eating well. You need to be hydrating well.
Mhm.
If you're doing all of those things and your testosterone is still a problem, well,
Yeah.
then you're probably a candidate for that.
Yeah.
If you're doing all of that wrong, if you're drinking too much, like alcohol,
Mhm.
if you're sleeping really poorly, that can artificially tank your
Wicked. Yeah,
testosterone.
alcohol will destroy your testosterone.
Right.
It's really just
So you could
it's
go get tested and it comes back as low T and you just
Mhm.
start taking testosterone, but you're still doing all of the wrong things.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to have the greatest of
That's
outcomes.
bad.
Right.
Yeah, you don't wanna do that.
Right.
Yeah, so I couldn't agree more, right? There's so many lifestyle choices that we have control over that if we could get under control, we can make sure that, like, "Okay, we're doing these things right, and my body still isn't doing what I would like as I get older. Okay, well, then what are these other opportunities I can have to make myself feel a little bit better,
Yeah.
both mentally and physically?"
So in general, the ones we've mentioned, I feel like this one,
I think this is a
you know,
very high level one for
yeah,
people that start to get into the 30, like 40s and 50s. That can help your quality of life over a few extra decades beyond maybe like what it would
yeah,
start to feel better.
yeah, good.
Yeah.
All right, then we're gonna go to our last one, which is this idea of like functional fitness or functional training.
Mm.
I think to us, this has been around forever because this is kind of like
It's
what
just what we
physical
do.
therapists do, right?
Yeah.
But I have noticed like an uptick of this sort of branding, if you will, on social media and other places, right?
Okay.
Around this like trend of functional training, performance training, like, whatever you want to
Hmm.
call it. It feels in many cases that it's a lot like strength training.
Mhm.
How is it different? And is this something that most people should do?
When you see
Like,
it
what is it?
advertised, what is the banner? Like, what do they show people doing?
So that's what I'm saying. It doesn't
Hmm.
really look a lot. I think, and the ones that I see, like especially on social media, it's just rebranded
Is it because
almost.
people are looking for functional
I
fitness
think
and
it's this
then
idea of like an aging population.
mm,
So people
mm,
are getting older.
yeah,
You don't want to lose the ability to get up off the floor, go up and down stairs, you know, like all
yeah,
of that stuff, like being able to like handle your body
of course,
in
yeah.
space,
Hmm.
right? So I think they're branding it as like something other than like moving your body and getting stronger and
Yeah, that's funny.
giving it like this title and this name that
Hmm.
somehow it's also going to make you live
So
longer
people
and
seek it out.
it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
longevity kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it's
And so
interesting.
instead of just saying like strength training, mobility training, whatever, I think it's just like under this umbrella of like functional training.
Yeah.
I mean, is that your understanding of generally like what it is?
So functional training to me is using your body in space, like not utilizing machines or not
Yeah.
utilizing like things that like limit
So give it like
your
an example.
stability. So like if I were to go do a leg press,
Mhm.
like a leg press for those who don't know is you lay down kind of in this contraption, you put your feet on a platform, you put some weights on the side, and then you push the
I love
platform
that one.
back and forth,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's easy.
It makes me look super strong
Totally,
because I
because
could put like a lot of
you
weights
can do
on
a
there.
fraudulent amount of weight on it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But
I'm like a gym bro
yeah,
at that point. I'm like,
that's
"Yeah,
right.
what's up, fellas?"
It's like the bodybuilding shit, right?
Yeah.
So Planet Fitness and gyms like that are the opposite of
Yeah.
functional training
But
because it's
like
all machines.
so just using that as an example, like
Mhm.
when do we ever do that in real life?
Leg press?
Like, yeah, do we ever?
Never.
It's like we never do that
Like,
unless like something falls, like in a movie or something. Like
yeah,
there's a tree and it falls and it lands on you
yeah.
and you have to push it off with your feet.
Machines are great at building muscle mass
Yeah,
and getting you strong, but they do not translate at all to like strength in real life
yeah,
because you're never in a machine that stabilizes it for you and you just get to be
right.
strong.
So
That's not
give
how
an
that
example
works.
then of something that would be like a functional
Yeah,
training
well, so
exercise.
then you're thinking like, well, what are the muscles that are used in a leg press? Well, it's like mostly your legs, it's your glutes, hamstrings, and quads.
Mhm.
And when you do like a squat, for instance, is a pretty like consider equal version to a leg press in terms of the muscles that are being used. A squat is the same thing, except you have to now stabilize your body under that load.
Yeah,
And then beyond like you know, compound lifts like squats, deadlifts, bench press, things like that, and even more like functional movements
yeah,
would be single leg movements, right? It's less stable. You have to balance. All of your stabilizer muscles are involved with like keeping you up and balancing and so on and so forth. You're much less strong and you're not going to build as much muscle with functional training, but it makes you more capable in real life because now you have better balance and strength like
sure.
when you need to react.
Yeah,
So it's just a different style. So the more stable you are and the more strength that you can throw through an exercise, technically the more muscle and the stronger you can get
yeah,
in that particular movement. And then the more unstable, the more functional you can make a movement, the more transferable to real life it becomes.
right.
Right. And so that's a lot of what
I
we do
mean,
in
for
here.
instance, I mean, I've seen some pretty bulky, muscular, strong dudes who
Hmm.
have trouble getting up off the floor.
Yeah, totally. And they're tight as shit.
Yeah, because they're so tight and they lack the mobility to move and to get themselves into a position where they
And
can
just
go.
and stability. Just
Right.
because they're
But if I put them
strong,
on the leg press, they could do like 1,000 pounds,
totally.
you know,
But it's not
but
transferable.
it's not transferable.
Yeah.
So you like to think of like a squat, obviously, is like getting up and down from a chair. Like
Hmm.
a lunge would be similar to getting up and down from like the
The ground.
ground,
Yeah.
like when you're doing that stuff. And so those are like examples of functional movement, functional training, where you can obviously still add load to those things
Hmm.
to continue to gain strength, gain muscle, um, but allow you to, allow your joints to move through full ranges of motion and to
Yeah.
build strength through the whole range of motion, just through small things.
Yeah.
Like for instance, just doing a bicep curl would not be functional training per
Yeah.
se.
I mean, it trains the muscle of your biceps,
Yeah,
but in real life, besides bringing a
like a
coffee mug
yeah,
maybe
yeah, right. You don't
doing a
really
thing,
do that. Yeah,
and besides, it
right.
doesn't require a lot of strength.
You're right.
Like it's not to say you can't do a biceps curl. It's
Yeah,
just that that's not the most
that's
functional.
not what
Like
functional. Yeah,
in my opinion, functional training mostly has to do with like legs and core
yeah,
because that's how we move our body around in the world,
yeah,
right? And then like shoulder health, like your shoulder mobility and
yeah.
things like that.
Mobility, right?
Um, so it's like it's stability
Spinal
training.
mobility, like things
Yes.
like a Jefferson curl, which is where you just basically like curl your spine as you like almost like a toe touch,
Yeah.
but like not trying to keep a perfectly straight back.
Yeah.
Like that to me is functional training because that's how most people move.
Mhm.
Before you go to pick up a sock, you don't sit there and be like, okay, I'm
Let
gonna
me
like,
totally.
hinge at my hips and
Yeah.
like all this crap that
How do you
physical
move
therapists
naturally in real
often
life? Yeah.
often tell people what to do. Like that's
Mhm.
how you're supposed to move. I'm like, no, you're not. Like that's not how we're designed to move. There's a reason the
Yeah.
spine curves the way it does. Like we can move like that if we train it the right way.
Mhm.
So those are all examples of like good functional training. And this one too, I believe this is. I like the fact that people are getting more into this kind of
Mhm.
training and a little bit away from like just like lift heavy things and try to
Yeah,
get
totally.
muscular.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
even you,
This is way more
someone
healthy.
who's like very strong and has a lot of you carry a lot of muscle and
Yeah.
you work hard on that, you still train very functionally. You have really good
I train with
mobility.
no machines.
Right, no
Yeah.
machines, and you can do all the like you can move through big ranges of motion. Your body's not limited by the muscle mass that you carry,
Yeah.
whereas a lot of guys
Yeah, you can
are.
have a lot of muscle and be
Yeah,
very mobile.
yeah,
You just have to be able to train it.
right,
Machines don't do that for
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I do. I like this one. Um, so in review, I think there was 5, if
Mhm.
I remember. So cold plunge, yeah,
Yeah, it's okay.
maybe,
Yeah, it
right?
has some benefit, but nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did wearables,
Yeah.
probably same kind of thing.
Probably worse than
Probably worse than
good.
like yeah.
Yeah.
Functional training we just covered.
Yeah, probably the best one out of
Probably
all
the
of
best
them
one of
in
all of
terms
them.
of keeping your body like fit and healthy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hormone replacement.
Yeah, it's a good tool for people who are low and who are feeling bad. A lot of primary cares don't really understand this, so but make sure that you also are finding somebody that's reputable. Don't just go after online clinics if you don't know who they are for
Right.
sure.
And then zone 2 cardio,
Yeah, zone two
which I
cardio.
forgot, which I had to lean out of camera to go look at this. Yeah, I was like, what is the last one?
Zone two cardio is fine.
Yeah.
It has a function. It's just time inefficient. If you really
Yeah.
love zone two cardio, please keep doing it. It's just not the be all end all, especially when it comes to weight loss.
All right. Very
Yeah.
good.
Cool.
Thank you, Peter.
All right, buddy.